Okay, we took the blankets off here and we got our wire wheel. We touched it off here just a little bit here, but we're gonna set this on down inside the bore there, and we're gonna start polishing out. We're trying to get rid of the flux and stuff and just kind of clean up the general area here. We want to dial that surface back in there. And the rest of it is just kind of like the smoke and the fumes, all of that. All right, that looks really nice. We'll get this in on the lathe, and we might have a couple little high spots here on the flex there. We'll chip that off with the needle gun. Okay, we're bringing our disc back over here, and it still looks pretty good. Our buildup we're real happy with. Let's get this slid in here as carefully as we can. And we're still trying not to move our two bottom jaws down there because they kind of hold the basic alignment. We're out past our pins. Now we can go ahead and screw in our two top jaws. Alright, now we should be able to bring this apart. We're going to go ahead and wipe down and clean this really good before we bring this back, and then put another towel down here so that we don't run over the grit and grime. There's a little bit, no matter how much you try, you put something down here. We moved everything back. We lifted this out. We lifted it back here. It's been open for a day. We have wind, breeze, all that stuff. And that's the stuff that you want to make sure you keep off of your ways. Alright, let me clean this up. We'll come back. We'll get you a good zoom in here. We'll get some good lighting. We'll take a good close look at the cleaned up braze before we set up and start cutting it. We're going to set up our dials the same exact way as we did before, and I'll show you those as we confirm our final before we go for the cut as well. Alright, we're happy with this. Put our chuck wrench down. We're 4-pointing our jaws on this back side here, so we got just under 0, meaning like 2/10 or so. We have one under, we have about a couple tenths above, and we have 0. So we're within a thou and a half, 4-pointing back here, and we're rolling this over, and it pretty well stays right at 0, and it has one little dip there. You can see there to there. Okay, it's not even a quarter of a rotational turn there. All right, I'm happy with this right here. This has some kind of warpage on it, but by going 4-point, I'm going to call that true enough to cut this thrust surface down in here. Everything else is going to be guided with the bearings, the bushings, and the spline shaft. And what we're doing is we're creating a thrust area that's going to hold the load, and this is so far or close into the diameter compared to the rest of the swing of the mass here that what we dialed in here is going to be holding that face true enough. Alright, let's put you down and we'll zoom in on the braze buildup here and get a good look at that. Okay, we got you zoomed in on the bead here along the side, and so you actually get to see how close I actually floated it in along that bore. I was able to maintain that pretty good. In that corner, actually I tried to hold the heat mostly over to this side here, but you know, this corner really, when you're coming across, because I'm doing, after I flooded it, made it stick to all the bottom around on the first pass. This is the second pass coming around, and all I did was take and just push that rod on there and float it back and forth. And when you get over here, it just like rolls right to the edge. All right, and I've taken a scale. Let's zoom you out here. Okay, zoomed you out, moved the carriage back here. I got my scale over here, and I'm looking at possibly just roughly over the top of this about 100 thousandths to an eighth of an inch of buildup from this surface. We were only 40 thousandths off of here, so I don't know. I mean, that's probably the lowest area right there. I'm gonna take this Sharpie, and I'm gonna go around here, and I'll eyeball the lowest point. I'm going to put a little blue Sharpie line around here just so that we can keep an eye on what it is in relationship to what we cut. And when we get the cutter in here, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to touch it without rotating it. I'm just going to come in and touch it to where I know I'm touching this part here with the tool bit. And I'll set 0, and then I'll come out here, and then we'll get an idea of exactly what this height or this buildup was right here. Now, I don't have to worry about too much of casting and cast material or ductile material getting on the ways and stuff now, because we're going to be pretty much just into bronze. I'm going to come over here and try to skim this round. I may come in and barely touch where the cast is there, but you know, it's not going to be an amount of cast, but I'll still put my little rag down here so that I can catch as much, you know, anything that comes off of there. I may not have to do anything on this inside here. After we get this face done, we'll take a look at this edge and this edge out here and decide what we want to do, whether we just go ahead and just kiss it with like a chamfer, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna zoom you in just a little bit here and get the overall picture. All right, I got my little rag down here. I'm running my insert, the D&MG. I'm just kind of lazy. I'm going to run an insert. I just put a new edge on here. It'll give me a leading edge that I can trim off inside and outside and the whole bit. So, like I said, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and touch off here and put it in gear. And there we go. One thing I didn't do, I didn't wrap a wrap around my screw jacks. I only have 2 screw jacks in here now. They seem to be holding their own. We'll just let it ride like that. I didn't have one of them get loose on the last time. Okay, we're just touching off right there. And that touch off spot is right there. There's the high right there. All right, now we're gonna glance around. We're just gonna go here. Okay, there's a low spot. These are the lowest out of each of these little spans that I'm gonna do here, and I'm gonna try to catch them all. That one there, it might be actually the one that's the lowest. I think that's all pretty high there, and here again, here's a low in here. All right, so those should be the last areas that should be picked up. All right, we're gonna set 0 on our travel dial, which is on the ways down here, and we're gonna come in and we're just gonna lightly touch the plate, and we're at a 150 thousandths. 150 thousandths is the height of our buildup above this plate, and we were below that surface, below the 40. We took the 40, and we touched a little bit. We took an additional 20 or 30 from there. So our buildup right now is about 3/16 of an inch of thickness of brass on here. Just the mean height of it, that's all. All right, I'm gonna come back in here to our 0. There's +10. we're feeding in 30 thousandths. We're gonna let the lathe feed this across. I'm enjoying a little bit different sound out of my lathe running the 4-jaw. Of course, the other 4-jaw, when I put it on there, it did the same kind of thing. I just really hated playing with them jaws that just didn't want to cooperate. And this one here is so nice and true and straight compared to what I had. We'll do a little tune-up on it. It'll get that much better. We'll finish it off. We'll finish off the T-nut slots, and we're going to put little grooves in between the grooves that are on the faceplate, so we'll have a thick and a thin groove, which will make a nice combination of being able to set your jaws by eye. The better you can eyeball something in, the less time it takes to get to a dialing indicator position to run and finish your project that's setting up. I will have to get the camera around and get a glimpse of this rotating from the backside, just so you can see how true, you can see the trueness that it needs to run, and you can see the areas that are running true on the disc on the back. Okay, I'm just going in by hand. I'm going to bring this back out. All right, let's stop it. Let's take a look. Okay, there's one Sharpie line falling in there. There's another one right there. This is the lowest valley I think we're going to have right in there. I didn't mark that area or that area. That area is in there. And that area there. Alright, that was 30 thousandths there. Here's another 30. So this will be a 1/16 of an inch from where we touched off to the depth we're going to end up with right now, and then we're going to go ahead, we'll start picking out our depth indicator, our depth mic. We'll put our depth mic up there and we'll measure out what we have right now for the protrusion, so we can sneak up on what we need to be. Okay, you can see our Sharpie mark is right in that valley right there. We have another Sharpie mark in that valley that we were pointing out, and one down in here. Okay, we did have a Sharpie mark there. I can see where my marker was marking, but we're cleaning up then there. All right, let's get the depth micrometer, and we're gonna come check and see what we actually have left on our dial. From touching off here, we have 130 thousandths, but let's see what we have with the depth mic. Let's see what we got on this depth mic here. And we'll check a couple areas here. We got looks like 77. $76 and a half. $76. $76. Okay. So at 76, I'll set that here. We actually have 35 thousandths more to take off of here. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's step it down now. I'm gonna go ahead and take 15 thousandths off of here. We're getting ready to take our last cut, and you can see here's where I marked that one low area, the Sharpie. All right, we have another little valley in here. We only have 10 thousandths to go, I believe. My calculations were we're at 50 thousandths, and that's where we're at. We'll check another dimension over here, and it was originally 40 thousandths sticking out. Yeah, I'm 50, 51, 52. And this was normally 40 thousandths from here. We still haven't even got down to the very, and that's why I left them on there, the little tiny flats on the minor and the major surfaces of that width. We left that. I don't think we'll clean up on the inside here, but we should be seeing signs of that on the outside there when we get to it. So I'm going to take 10 thousandths now. Now this surface was worn out, not because this is a thrust surface. Whatever wore out in here, whatever retains on this side here, spun again. This thing traveled and spun against there and ate this up. So all we're doing is we're bringing this back to resemble the cast material, and whatever they're replacing and rebuilding the rest of this component, those areas, those should be fixed. And then the system won't be, it shouldn't be chewing up this surface. This is only a width, a retainment to hold this whole unit in line. So that wear there is not because that's a wear surface, okay? So we're just building this back out. So we have one little holiday in here or two little holidays. It's not going to matter. Would we like it clean? Yes, we would like it clean. We did our best build up. You know, you saw what it went through to prepare and put this material on here. Yes, I could have went around one more time possibly and put that much more material on there. And it just unfortunate we were low in just a couple little areas right there. If this was a crucial build up for a thrust or whatever, as soon as I saw a couple little light areas there, I would have came over and I would have brought my tool bit in and I would have touched and verified that I didn't. And while I had extra material over here, I went ahead and set it back in there and reheated the thing up to temperature and everything else, and then added some more on there. You know, that's the going through the process. I could have possibly put a straight edge across there a couple times and maybe added a little bit on each side of there. But this is what we're stuck with. So we're going to take a 10 thousandths cut here, and we should start seeing the signs of that cast right out here. I'm really happy with the solidness of my braze there. Looking good. I didn't see any cast line out there. All right, we're backing out and coming back. We didn't want it. We just don't want to put any marks on here at all. All right. Yeah, there's one of our little marks there. We were guessing that spot. Okay, so we got that and that. This is minor. Really minor. I would have really suspected seeing that surface right there. But I don't. So about 44. Yeah, we might be slightly above it. I got 44 there. 42. $43. 44. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. What we're going to do now is we're going to come in here, we're going to lightly touch the plate. We're going to come in and make the surface on the outside true and round. And I think we're going to come in here, we're just going to kiss it slightly, just making sure that we don't have any rolled over surface diameter right here. Okay, here we're coming in. Need a little light here for me. You want to come in a little closer too? Okay, I'm just skipping it. I'm just feeding by hand. I'm just going in. Okay. Rolling it over by hand. Okay, I can see I'm actually into, I can see some metal area right in there. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Now we're gonna come in here. I'm raising this slightly above center here, just so I know that I'm not gonna be skipping underneath here. Okay. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna grab some emery paper and I'm gonna hold it and spin it right around here. See if I can't take the rest of that residue of the flux there. We're just holding the paper on here and spinning it so that any little burrs or raised up areas there, make it nice, all smooth. All right, there we go. Restored that surface. There's a couple little lows there, but it's still going to support the purpose of this surface right here, and that's to locate this part in relationship to everything else in the components there. And pretty happy about that. Okay, before I pull this out of here, I wanted to show you how this is running on the back side. Okay, so let me re-engage this. There we go. Now the clutch plates, well, I mean the shaft down in the center, of course, is running true, and then you have like a seal surface. Then you have a diameter here, a minor, where the disc or whatever are registering right there, and then you can see this outside surface right here is actually running true with this surface right here. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this on out of here. We got a little blanket here because we like to, when we get it loose, we lift it out and we set it down on this, and then we can get it out and get it on the mill here. All right, we need to grab our wrench here and pull out our little blocks here just so they don't drop. There was no way that was coming out because this stuck out into the pocket on the back side, one of those 3 pockets. All right, and there's the little one. All right. There we go. Okay. All right, here's a final look at this before we wrap up this video here. And you can see a little lows here, a couple of them right in there. But this surface right here is going to be back to original. The bearing race or whatever comes in here to hold it in position there side to side. This is actually going to be a good surface for it to mate up against. And there we go. All right, glad we saved this half of the part that they're trying to rebuild. I truly enjoyed this project here, and I was glad I was able to bring you in. I hope it was interesting for you. All right, until next time, get it done.